All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thursday and night football, week number 17. We got the Bears taking on the Seahawks. In today's video, I'm going to dive into this game. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment for my final plays. You'll be taken to the Guy Boston Sports site, absolutely free, if you're interested in terms of what I'm actually rolling with myself in this game. We had another profitable NFL week in week number 16. 16 weeks in, still just 3 weeks that we were in the red. I keep saying at some point the other shoe is going to drop, we're going to get cold. It hasn't happened yet, so maybe I should just keep saying that the other shoe will drop and I'm like reverse jinxing it, right? Because we've had a damn good NFL season. But guys, let's go ahead and jump into this one. You're either watching this on Christmas or after Christmas, so hopefully you are having or had a great Christmas or a great holiday. Obviously, this holiday season is just a great time of year, so appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with me. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop your favorite plays down below. I'm always curious to see what you guys are rolling with. And let's jump into this one. So we got Chicago taking on Seattle. Chicago 4-11 on the season. Against the number, they're 6-7-2. Going up against Seattle, who does have a winning record, but they're not playoff bound just yet. They're at 8-7 right now, 6-8-1 against the number. On the road, though, 5-1 this season. So I do give them a little bit of credit there. They've covered in 80% of their road games this season. So clap it up for Seattle for traveling, right? And I mentioned the playoffs. So the Seattle Seahawks pretty much need to win out to even have a shot at, making the playoffs. They're kind of duking it out right now with the Rams, and they play the Rams in week number 18. So if Seattle wins this one, and I guess the Rams lose this week, and then Seattle beats the Rams next week, they actually do have a path to the playoffs and being, I think that might land them at the, I want to say like the 4 seed, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, playoff bound, right? So this game matters a whole heck of a lot to Seattle, and I don't know how much it really does to the Bears. This Bears team has struggled all season long. Their struggles have continued. Even if we do jump into the dashboard here, you could see last 3 games, only 14 points per game offensively, while they're allowing 34 points per game. That's just absolutely awful. They're getting passed on the 8th fewest in terms of frequency, the 8th fewest amount of times over the last 3 games, yet they're allowing the 3rd most yards. So talk about being the opposite of an efficient defense against the pass, right? Now, Seattle hasn't looked tremendous, but their numbers sure as heck look a lot better than the Bears, right? 22.3 in terms of points per game, passing the ball, kind of middle of the pack. The running game isn't all that tremendous. Now, they're not running it much, but they are middle of the pack in terms of yards per game, so that could be crucial, I guess, in terms of what we see this Bears defense kind of struggle at all year long. You can see it over here, 5th worst in terms of, or 6th worst in terms of rushing yards per game allowed. But we do jump over to the injury report here and look at this. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet both listed as questionable, so we want to keep an eye on that because I do think the run game could be, or honestly, I should say should be, the path to success for Seattle. We know Geno can throw and probably will have a decent game because the Chicago defense isn't all that tremendous overall. In fact, if we want to look at the DVOA rankings for the entire season, you can see it down here. 27th in terms of defensive DVOA ranking, 18th against the pass, and 2nd to last against the rush. They're allowing 12% production rate to running backs. So again, Charbonnet, Walker, gonna really want to monitor to see if they play. But overall, this Seattle defense has had its ups and downs. Overall in the season, I would say a pretty good defense, right? Top 13 in terms of points allowed per game. They're not getting slaughtered in the pass or the rush. And you can see here, DVOA, which takes into account all the situations, the teams you've played, strength of schedule, situational, right? Like if teams throwing on 3rd down compared to 1st, that type of thing. You can see it right here. Top 10 in terms of pass defense and 11th in rush defense. So we do have what I would consider somewhat of a lopsided affair here. Like I think the Seahawks look a lot better on paper and visually. Like they could have, and honestly, you might want to argue should have beat Minnesota. I guess not should have, but they at least could have beat Minnesota, right? Whereas Chicago played Minnesota and only scored 12 points again. They lost 30-12. These two teams do have some recent plays, recent teams that they both played, right? San Francisco a few weeks back, Seattle won 20-17. The Bears got smoked 38-13, and we know San Francisco's not that great of a team. So this one I don't necessarily want to overthink, and maybe I am, just simplifying it too much, and maybe I should overthink it, but give me Seattle minus the points. I do think this could be a spot in which we at least buy a half point, get it to a field goal, something like that, because if there's one thing we could say about Bears is that, okay, obviously a lot of the guys in terms of coaching and staff and whatnot probably aren't coming back next year. But some of these players may want to rally around their rookie quarterback, their future QB, and continue to work and kind of piece things together so they have momentum going into, obviously, the next year, right? So maybe they play a little pesky and keep up with this Seahawks team. So overall, like I said, I do think that this could be a close game, at least a field goal game. So I'm going to buy that half point just for almost insurance. I still am big on Seattle, and it's probably Seattle -3 is probably my favorite play in this game with the total considered as well as any player props. But yeah, overall, I think buying that half points probably is, like I've said a million times now, probably is the smart move. And right now, in terms of odds for that -3, you can even go down to, in all honesty, if you wanted to get more safe, -2.5 for -150. But that -3 number is right now. Let's see if we can get some updated odds. -120 over on Bet365, -130 on DraftKings. So kind of in a decent wheelhouse there. So give me Seahawks minus the points. Playoff implications here, and I do just believe they are the better team. Now, if those two guys don't play, or even if maybe one of them doesn't play, those running backs, I do think it's going to be tough to want to be so heavy on the Seahawks and get to them. So that is a massive factor. But assuming that they play and, are at least somewhat healthy, I do think that this is going to be in Seattle's favor, I guess. I think that Walker didn't participate in practice on Monday, and I want to say Charbonnet was a limited participant, so neither one has been ruled out, just listed as questionable. Now, when we turn to the total for this one, it's important to note that there could be some rain. That's actually probably something I should bring up. It looks like there's going to be 30% chance of precipitation. I didn't say participation this time. Precipitation in Chicago with a decent amount of wind. So yeah, running could be a huge factor here. But Seattle is no stranger to playing in the rain either, right? So I do like the idea of Seattle still. But in terms of a total, I think this could be a similar game to how we saw Green Bay take on New Orleans when a lot of people, and to some degree, me too, thought that New Orleans would be like, we have nothing to play for, so they might play better because they're going to say screw it and that type of thing. But then New Orleans absolutely stunk it up, right? I could see the Bears coming in here and not scoring 0 points. I'm not saying that, but putting up like 14 points, 17 points, and Seattle kind of, I guess going out there and doing their thing. So if I'm thinking that only one team's going to contribute totally offensively in this one, and one could be lagging behind, I would consider either a Bears team total under or the full game under overall. Now, the one concern for taking an under, and like I say, I like to give you my plays or at least my thoughts, but then I can make the same counter just to give you kind of both sides of it, right? The one thing is what I showed you with that dashboard. Like, Geno Smith against bad passing defenses obviously is been a good quarterback, right? Or a pretty good quarterback. This is Chicago, who, again, 6th fewest pass attempts against in the last 3 weeks, but the 3rd highest amount of yards. That screams over, right? I just don't think it's going to be that heavy of a pass game if we do see some rainfall or any type of precipitation there. So give me the under as well, but maybe it's just a Bears team total under, and we trust to some degree this underrated, and I will say underrated, Seattle defense. Now, before we do get into player props, I do want to talk to you guys about Sleeper. They have an unreal deal going on right now. I've been saying it in so many of my videos because I still can't believe they're offering it. Play $5, so place a $5 entry, get $55 back. 11x your money just by placing the entry for new customers. If that entry hits, you're still going to get that payout as well, which is awesome. They also have a Caleb Williams 0.5 passing yards square for this Thursday Night Football, and they're doing a ton of discounts during these holidays. So go ahead and check out Sleeper, guys. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. If you just want to download it on your phone and sign up using code GUYBOSTON, you can do it the manual way as well. You'll get all of those, but the link that you can click in the description and the pinned comment will auto-apply that. So go ahead and check out Sleeper, guys. I highly, highly recommend it. Now, let's talk a couple player props in this spot. First one we're going to look at here, and I've kind of already, tipped my hand and kind of spoiled this one, but I do think that this could be a game that's heavily relied on the ground for Seattle. Geno Smith under 34.5 pass attempts. Again, this Bears team has not been thrown on very frequently. You might ask, well, why don't you like his under 253.5 passing yards? Because I could see some massive plays here from Geno that put us in a peculiar situation. So I like the attempts a lot more. He's only gone over in 2 of his 10 games, his last 10 games, and in 5 of the 15 games so far this year. So I do like this. Even last season, 53% of his games, he did hit the under. So yeah, I like the spot for Geno Smith in away games this season, 4 straight as well. And obviously that chance of rain, chance of showers could be a decent spot here too. And you can see Chicago on the season, we were just talking last 3 weeks, Chicago on the season, 7th fewest in terms of passing attempts per game, about 5 less than this number, 30.5 passing attempts for opposing quarterbacks. So I like Geno Smith to be handing the ball off a little bit more than passing it in this one. And I don't think they need to rely on Geno. And when you do rely on Geno, sometimes he makes those Geno dumb plays, you know what I mean, and throws it right to the other team. So when they need to win to potentially, I should say, make the playoffs, I don't think that they're going to say, hey, Geno, sling this thing 40 times this game. Next one we're looking at here is going to be DJ Moore, and I like his over 5.5 receptions. You can go over 4.5. You're going to be paying tons of juice, but I don't mind 5+ in terms of a same game parlay or parlay piece. He's at this in six straight weeks. He's getting a plethora of target share, right? Last 5 in terms of that we can filter and can see here, 7.2 catches per game, right? But 9.8 targets. So I do like that spot. If he catches 75% of those, he's looking at, 7-ish catches, and we only need 6 from him here. So I do like DJ Moore. You could see receptions allowed so far this year. Seattle, 20th in the league, allowing, receptions, 20th in the league. But to wide receivers specifically, 12. So yeah, could be a decent spot. They're allowing 12.4 in terms of, catches to wide receivers. And DJ Moore is getting 25% of the target share, right? In terms of what we see there, that at the very least, if you even just want to do that, that is wide receivers alone. Now, this is including, Cole Kmet and stuff, but say we take away those 50. All right, maybe we look at between these, DJ Moore now is looking at around 35-ish% of the target share. Now you're talking about a floor of 4 receptions from him, and if they're going to be throwing and they're going to be down, I do think that he can pick up a couple more there. But yeah, don't sleep on the idea of maybe a little same game parlay piece of going 5+ either, if that's what you like. Maybe even on Prize Picks with a green goblin square. So DJ Moore over 4.5, but I do like over 5.5 for near even odds receptions as well. And even if we did want to do the math and kind of consider, Cole Kmet in there, receptions allowed, right? About 22 per game to opposing teams. Take a quarter of 22, we're talking around 5.5 or so, right? So right on that line, he's obviously going to get the target share overall too in a game like this. So I like him for 6 catches. It's a lot, but he's been crushing it. You can see it there in the recent games. Now, if we do, like anything more or want to add any plays, I will add it to the final plays on GuyBostonSports.com, and I'll give you a little blurb if we didn't talk about it in this video. But overall, yeah, I'm trying not to overthink it, trying to simplify it, saying, okay, let's go with the Seahawks because they technically need the win, and the Bears are already out of it in a sense. And then how are the Seahawks going to win? I believe that's going to be on the ground, so we're looking at Geno Smith's under in pass attempts, and then, okay, well, if they're winning, then it's Caleb Williams and the Bears are going to be throwing. Who's Caleb Williams going to throw to? DJ Moore, right? So it's like I kind of if this game script isn't correct, then kiss it goodbye. But I do like the spot, guys. If you made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment 13. We know that's a lucky number, right? Comment 13 down below. Again, I hope all of your holidays are going well so far right now and everything like that. And I do truly, appreciate the moment. Don't take it for granted that you guys are spending a little bit of time here with me. So do appreciate that. And we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.